Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Ya, Bapak Ibu, kembali kami dari Rumes melanjutkan video kita. Video yang sebelumnya kita sudah belajar tentang copywriting berbasis hipnosis atau hypnotic writing. Nah, di sesi ini kita akan belajar tentang salah satu kursus dari Joe Vitale, mungkin sekitar tahun 90-an ya, karena pada waktu itu belum ditemukan infocus, sifatnya masih OHP gitu. Mungkin teman-teman yang kuliah di tahun 80-an atau 85 ke atas itu telah belajar, dosen-dosen membawakan OHP ya. Serangkaian kata belum infocus. Kalau sekarang kan sudah infocus, kemudian bahkan beranjak ke presentasi di apa? Zoom dan lain sebagainya gitu. Nah, sebelum kita masuk pada pembelajaran itu, jangan lupa kami ingatkan kembali tentang konsep balai balai lesson atau yang dikembangkan oleh balai training ya. Pertanyaan apa, mengapa, bagaimana, dan apa selanjutnya. Buat ini sebanyak mungkin pertanyaannya, kemudian jawab sebanyak mungkin yang bisa Anda jawab. Bila belum, Anda perhatikan kembali video dan cari jawabannya di sana gitu. Dan itu adalah cara kita merekap pembelajaran. Dan ini sebuah metode yang dikembangkan oleh balai training. Kalau kita ingin merekap, maka pastikan kita bisa menjawab pertanyaan apa, mengapa, bagaimana, dan apa selanjutnya. Jadi perbanyak pertanyaan, kemudian jawab pertanyaan itu satu persatu. Ini kembali diadakan oleh Rumah Berdaya Zoka atau Yayasan Zoka atau Yayasan Zohara Kasim Hasan. Di situ ada akun bank bila ingin membantu dakwah kami, dakwah perubahan. Kami ingin mencerdaskan umat gitu. Lebih cerdas di banyak hal termasuk dalam dunia bisnis gitu. Maka eh, video ini dibuat dan bila Anda membantu kegiatan kami, silahkan berbagi dengan akun yang ada di PowerPoint. Baik, kita akan kembali sharing metode dari pembelajaran dari Joe Vitale dan kita sudah paham backgroundnya, kita sudah ngerti siapa Joe Vitale dan dia justru hadir dari keterpurukannya dan copywriting menjadi media atau alat mendongkrak kembali kekayaannya menuju kondisi kekayaan yang dia impikan sekarang ya, kekayaan yang dia dapatkan sekarang. Dan sudah di info kemarin, awalnya Joe Vitale ingin jadi penulis naskah, penulis skrip dan sebagainya, dan ujungnya malah terakhir mendalami tentang copywriting yang menurut dia sebenarnya itulah impian sebenarnya yang dia inginkan gitu. Baik, kita akan mulai masuk ke materinya Joe Vitale. Inilah pembelajaran tentang copywriting sekitar tahun 90-an. Jadi videonya masih agak lama ya.
If there is a center of the universe when it comes to salesmanship, it may very well be here, in a small office on the north side of Houston, Texas. Lining these walls is one of the largest private collections of advertising, marketing, and publicity materials ever assembled. Each piece of this mind-boggling collection was obtained with just one purpose in mind: to help shed light on the age-old question, what makes people buy?
Itu tadi buku-buku Joe Vitale. Dan Joe Vitale termasuk orang yang sangat gemar dengan buku-buku lama karena menurutnya buku-buku lama itu lebih kreatif ya. Jadi konsep-konsep buku lama yang dikembangkan di periklanan di buku-buku lama ya. Tahun 1920, 1900 karena menurut dia buku-buku lama itu lebih punya ide karena di sana tanpa bantuan. Maksudnya kalau sekarang kan dengan teknologi dan sebagainya kita bisa saling searching, bisa saling melihat punya orang. Kalau di zaman dulu orang tuh kreatif mencari kata-katanya dan mereka memperbanyak pemeliharaan sebagaimana sudah bahas di video pertama dengan membaca buku, melihat film dan berbagai macam karakter yang dikembangkan di berbagai media yang ada ya gitu.
Its owner has dedicated the last 20 years to answering this very question and may have come as close as anyone alive to doing just that. His name is Joe Vitale, author of 8 books, including The 7 Lost Secrets of Success, the AMA's Complete Guide to Small Business Advertising, and Cyber Writing, How to Promote Your Product or Service Online without being flamed. His latest, There's a Customer Born Every Minute, is the first book to explore P.T. Barnum's extraordinary genius for making money. While most of Joe's work is done here under the watchful eye of Barnum himself, the following program captures him during a rare televised appearance, sharing a few of the many secrets he's uncovered when it comes to creating marketing that really sells.
Ya, tadi cerita, dan kalau boleh cerita sedikit, P.T. Barnum adalah seorang pakar marketing, pakar advertising di tahun 1920-an. Dan dia bukan legenda, bahkan dia bisa menjual apapun, dan dia sebenarnya showbiz, jadi dia menjual sirkus dan sebagainya dengan melalui tulisan, dan itulah P.T. Barnum menjadi salah satu favoritnya Joe Vitale dalam mengupas kembali di beberapa buku, termasuk Seven Lost of Secret, tujuh rahasia ya yang hilang, itu adalah salah satunya bercerita tentang P.T. Barnum. Baik, kita ikuti pelatihannya.
Thank you. I'm looking for this guy. If new hair doesn't grow after using my method, I don't want a penny. Why do I want this guy? Why do I want this guy? I want interaction, so you can go ahead and talk. It's all right. Huh? I need some hair.
Ya, pertama, ini dia memamerkan satu iklan. Iklan yang headline-nya bagus. Jadi, kalau rambut Anda tidak tumbuh, saya tidak mau uang Anda gitu. Ini sebuah iklan penumbuh rambut ya gitu. Dan ini Joe Vitale mengatakan, saya lagi nyari orang ini nih gitu. Karena iklannya bagus menurut dia gitu.
He's got something I want. Now, how do I know that he's got something I want? This is an ad. If you look at the date way at the top, it's 1923. I want to look at some old ads. Yeah, he's probably old and bald and all kind of terrible things by now. But when that came out, he was advertising that he could help people grow hair, regain hair. That specifically interests me. Notice how the headline targets exactly who the market is. When you create sales materials, you want to target that way too. What else do you notice about this ad?
Don't want a penny.
Nah ini, if your hair doesn't grow after using my method, I don't want a penny. Jadi kalau bila rambut Anda tidak tumbuh setelah menggunakan metode saya tidak mau uang Anda gitu. Dan ini adalah iklan 1923. Jadi kembali dia mengulas kembali iklan-iklan lama yang menurut saya excellent ya, bagus gitu. Dan dia mentargetkan pada orang yang memang botak, entah karena penyakit ataupun karena sudah tua gitu. Sehingga dia iklan. Jadi target marketnya clear gitu. Siapa yang ditargetkan di dalam iklan ini. Dan bentuknya adalah sebuah ungkapan yang sifatnya butuh dialog. Dan dialog itu berarti interaktif iklannya gitu.
There's a guarantee. Guarantees are big. Guarantee everything you do. I think you're required by law to do it anyway for 30 days. But guarantee everything you do. It's going to make a big difference in the results that you get. What else do you notice about this?
Nah, satu lagi itu tentang garansi. Jadi dia money back guarantee lah. Kalau nggak iklan kita tidak memberikan hasil. Maksudnya produknya tidak memberikan hasil ya.
Gave him some credentials.
Author of. I don't even see that. How did you read that? Okay, there is a credential there in small type, which she picked up. It's right in the center of the ad. Wonderful that you saw that. What else do you notice about this ad?
Results.
Actual results. There's some testimonials over there. There's some proof. We live in the age of skepticism. You have to prove whatever it is that you're offering or selling. So I want to look at some old ads from the 1920s.
Nah, ini dia memberikan testimoni di bawahnya, itu berarti tentang penguatan ya, bahwa kita hidup di dunia skeptis, Jadi dia memperkuat itu, mengcounter itu dengan banyaknya testimoni di awal ya, gitu. Udah berikan testimoni.
And then test you a little bit on some ads that were actually tested and see how well you do. And keep in mind that you can apply these techniques to the sales materials you are creating. You ready? All right.
Nah, kembali, ini sesi pembuka Joe Vitale dalam membuka pelatihan dan sengaja menggebrak audien, namanya ice breaking di dalam pelatihan, membuat audien bergerak, berpikir, dan data itu bisa digunakan di dalam iklan hari ini gitu. Itu yang dikembangkan oleh Joe Vitale, dan dia bicara tentang rambut karena rambutnya memang Joe Vitale sudah mulai hilang gitu, dan dia sengaja membuat itu supaya menarik perhatian, dan ini sebenarnya bagian dari teknik menulis juga gitu, memancing perhatian orang.
Okay, yes, I got a thing for this. Is your head only a hair farm? Now, would you say that's a good ad or a bad ad? Is that a good headline or a bad headline? Bad headline. Why?
Because it doesn't really tell you what.
Yeah, it's very misleading. How many here think it is to help with your hair or have something to do with hair restoration? They're actually selling a book. But you can't tell that. See, when people are looking at your ads, your sales materials, your brochures, your postcards, they give it a split second. They don't spend any time on the materials that you're paying a lot of money for them to look at. So if you don't communicate what you're offering, you lose. This is a bad ad. It's probably a great book and a great offer. And the
Ini adalah iklan yang dianggap jelek ya, karena istilahnya apakah kepala Anda atau if is your head, kepala Anda hanya sebuah pertanian rambut gitu, maksudnya gitu. Sebenarnya maksudnya tentang ketidakteraturan, dan orang berpikir bahwa ini tentang rambut, sebenarnya dia sedang jual buku gitu. Dan ini jadi nggak clear sebenarnya iklan nih, targetnya ke siapa nggak clear, kemudian dia seperti tidak bicara rambut tapi bicara hal lain gitu, sehingga dianggap ini iklan yang jelek gitu.
layout is nice, but the headline tries to be cute. Cute and clever does not sell.
Nah, iklan ini intinya ingin terlihat lucu, tapi malah tidak menjual gitu.
Say very rarely sells. Stay away from cute and clever, go for direct benefits.
Nah, kata Joe, kalau buat headline, masukkan ke direct benefit, jadi manfaat langsung. Jangan mencoba membuat lucu yang akhirnya timbul persepsi berbeda ya gitu.
What about this? Pick out the 7 best words. Good or bad?
Bad.
I got a bad over here. Probably you're not sure because you don't know exactly what they're selling, but it is a course on getting people to say yes. I'm pointing it out because the headline involves people. Pick out the 7 best words, and there's some columns up there, and there's a question. Can you tell which is the most convincing word in each list? That's a very involving ad. The more you can involve people with your persuasive copy, with your sales materials, the more that they will read it, the more that they will internally link to what you're saying or trying to sell. So this is an attempt to persuade people to be involved in what they're selling.
Nah, ambil 7 kata dan diberikan di dalam iklan itu, ambil 7 kata dan diberikan kata-kata gitu. Di bawahnya pilih yang paling meyakinkan, paling menguatkan. Ini iklan ini sebenarnya iklan yang bagus menurut Joe Vitale karena mencoba melibatkan pembaca, terlibat di dalam iklannya, dan semakin sering terlibat, sebenarnya kita menangkap idenya, dan audiens jadi terlibat dan ingin terus meneruskan membaca iklan kita.
When doctors feel rotten, this is what they do. Is this good or bad? Yeah, it's actually excellent. This is a famous ad. Ignore the 1, 2, and 3. That was from an analysis that John Caples gave of this. What do you think of the headline? When doctors feel rotten, this is what they do. Why the words feel rotten? How come they just didn't say when doctors feel bad, when doctors are sick, when doctors are ill?
It's emotional.
They want to go for the emotions. They want to go for the emotions. Feel rotten gives and elicits an emotional response in people. People don't buy unless you've involved them emotionally. They justify what they're buying with logic. That's why there needs to be all kind of material in here like testimonials and guarantees and so.
Nah, ini iklan tentang sebuah pernyataan yang memancing emosi. Jadi tulisannya when doctor feel rotten. Feel rotten itu artinya banyak arti ya rotten, tapi artinya busuk atau apa. Cuma pengertiannya bukan busuk. Ada dokter merasa capek, merasa nggak enak, nggak nyaman. Tapi sengaja di feel rotten dipakai sebuah metafora yang untuk mengejar apa emosinya gitu. Jadi sengaja digunakan kata-kata emosionalnya gitu dengan maksud agar orang emosi terlibat karena di dalam teknik penulisan kita harus kejar emosi orang sebagaimana di awal kita cerita kita menerobos TDS Trans Derivation Search menggunakan Trans Derivation Search untuk menerobos gerbang seleksi atau critical factor yang ada di dalam batas antara sadar dengan bawah sadar di mana emosi ada di bawah sadar kita kejar situnya agar orang bisa mendapatkan emosi karena manusia beli barang itu karena emosi dan mencoba dilogikakan emosinya itu gitu. Jadi emosi yang kita kejar ya.
Forth to make it easy for them to buy. But you have to tap into their emotions before they'll pay attention, before they'll actually want it. Feel rotten is very emotional. They're excellent words. Here's why you have to advertise. This is a famous ad from the 1950s. I don't know who you are. I don't know your company. I don't know your company's product. I don't know what your company stands for. I don't know your company's customers. I don't know your company's record. I don't know your company's reputation. Now, what is it you wanted to sell me? This is why you have to have marketing documents out there to sell you before you get to the door or before you call them. This helps inform people about who you are and what you do. You do need business cards, brochures, ads, flyers, postcards. You do need sales materials, and this proves it. Does this look like a guy you want to talk to? No, he needs to be sold. Not today, right? He needs to be sold on who you are and what you're doing.
Nah, itu iklan itu menggambarkan tentang periklanan itu bagaimana kita memasarkan orang dan digambarkan sudah dilihat di situ sebenarnya sebuah iklan tentang bagaimana kita membuat iklan dengan baik. Sebenarnya iklan mungkin iklan agent ya periklanan. Jadi kita perlu jelaskan siapa kita karena di situ tertulis saya tidak tahu Anda, saya tidak tahu produk Anda, saya tidak ngerti bagaimana produk ini pantas dibeli dan sebagainya. Sekarang ceritakan pada saya tentang produk Anda. Apa yang mau Anda tawarkan pada saya. Jadi ini iklan ini ingin menjelaskan kita perlu punya sesuatu untuk diperkenalkan sebelum kita masuk memperkenalkan produk. Jadi kita perlu kenalkan diri kita, siapa dan sebagainya. Maka ini sebenarnya iklan kartu nama atau semacam hal-hal pengenalan yang perlu dilakukan. Jadi ini sebenarnya iklan itu.
Advertising will help. This is a recent back page ad from DBA magazine, and I'm only showing it to remind us that when you place an ad, you might work night and day on an ad. Or when you create a flyer or a brochure, it doesn't have to be an advertisement. You work very hard on it. And to you, it might be wonderful. It might stand out. It might just be awesomely riveting and irresistible. But when it's placed, look what happens. It disappears in a sea of advertisements. So if you want yours to stand out, you have to do something that's going to make it stand out. All of these are small classified, small display ads in the back of the magazine. You know the easiest way to write one of these is just hammer on the benefit or the problem. For example, if anybody here has a headache, the only ad that would jump out here would probably be the one that said headache relief. That's what you're interested in. So don't go for anything cute. You want to make it as direct, as benefit-oriented, as simple, as rifle-shotted as can be.
Nah ini Joe Vitale merangkat sebenarnya ini kejadian di kita sehari-hari gitu. Bahwa ketika kita udah merancang iklan bagus gitu. Kemudian kita pasang di koran di mana di situ banyak iklan-iklannya. Ini masih era sebelum digital ya gitu. Iklan kita tenggelam karena banyaknya iklan-iklan lain, iklan kita tenggelam. Satu-satunya yang membuat kita bisa stand out atau bisa bisa bangkit adalah ketika kita memfokuskan pada manfaat. Orang fokus pada manfaat. Misalnya eh, sakit kepala iklan. Dia contohkan sakit kepala. Jangan coba menulis sesuatu yang berbeda, langsung aja tulis sakit kepala Anda hilang dalam waktu 30 menit. Waktu 20 menit. Itu langsung direct ke manfaat dan orang yang punya sakit kepala menengok iklan itu gitu. Apalagi kalau Anda tulis dengan bold, dengan berbagai macam teknik agar terlihat berbeda dan itu adalah trik di mana. Nah, sekarang kita juga punya hal yang sama ya. Anda nulis broadcast di mana sekian banyak broadcast di WA misalnya. Ada banyak iklan gitu. Dan tugas Anda adalah memastikan bahwa Anda stand out, berada di melonjol di antara kerumunan yang ada.
You've already heard, this is what we're looking at, make words work for you. You've already heard that you have to test. Here is the beginning of an advertisement, a series of ads that led to a famous ad in the 1920s. They started by this one that said, make words work for you. Do you think that's pretty good? No? I got to know. How many don't like it? Well, I got a couple that are fairly interested. Yeah, it may work, but they knew that you have to test. So they didn't settle for this. They didn't settle for this ad. They kept this one aside. They noted how many responses they got, and they went and they created another ad selling the same thing. This one, new way to find and correct your mistakes in English. Only 15 minutes a day. Again, they're testing which one is going to be the best. These are professional copywriters who don't write these things in one sitting and quit. They spend a lot of time looking for the unique angle, the USP, looking for the emotional benefit there, and writing a headline that's going to bring it. They didn't stop there. Make your language win for you. Another attempt. These people are shelling out real money to do this. In the 1920s, it cost a lot of money. It's cost a phenomenal amount today. But the point is, they knew it was important enough to keep testing. We need to do the same thing. So when you come up with a flyer with a headline or with an ad with a headline or a brochure, be willing to change it. Be willing to improve it. Be willing to test it. It was good enough for them. It can be good enough for us. They still were not done. What does your English tell about you? It's a bigger ad, so they must have more confidence that this advertisement is working, so they've taken out more space. But they're still playing with the headline. What does your English tell about you? Questions are good for headlines. I love questions if they're involving questions. If they're questions that can be answered with a yes or no, people may answer it with a yes or no and not read your ad. But if it's something like, what does your English tell about you, you have to read a little bit further to understand what the headline's talking about. It's pulling people into the copy. They did not stop there. Make your English win for you. Now they're even real aware that how important that headline is. I mean, look at the headline. It dominates the page. When people are going through and they're looking at your flyers, your brochures, your headlines, whatever it happens to be, your headline and illustration are the two things that may stop them. They need to call out to the people that will be most interested in whatever it is that you're selling. If they don't, it'll be like one of those earlier headlines we looked at, is your head a hair farm. It's meaningless. It doesn't capture anybody. This is starting to target people. Another attempt for the same product. His simple invention has shown thousands how to break bad habits in English. Now it's a full page with lots of copy, lots of subheadings. Still has the coupon, still has the picture, still has a big headline. They're still testing. Still testing. And they ended up with this. Do you make these mistakes in English? This is one of the most famous advertisements in history. Once they got here, they stayed here for 40 years.
Nah, ini cerita tentang perjalanan sebuah copywriting ya. Dan ini sebenarnya iklan yang bagus karena ini legenda gitu. Do you make this mistake in English? Tapi ternyata di balik tulisan ini ada 6 atau 7 bahkan sampai 8 kali percobaan. Jadi mereka mencoba kata-kata yang tepat, lihat respon. Kata-kata yang tepat dia respon, dia lewat respon gitu. Dan ini adalah kata-kata yang paling banyak lebih respon, kurang lebih kalau tidak salah 800% lebih banyak dibanding sebelumnya, dan mereka bertahan dengan iklan ini sampai 40 tahun kemudian. Inilah iklan legenda dan menjadi pembahasan, bahkan konsultan termahal di UKM menggunakan ini gitu, menggunakan ini untuk konsep iklannya gitu. Dan ini adalah konsep iklan yang terbaik setelah melakukan proses 8 kali percobaan. Dengan kali ini pesannya adalah tes dan ukur. Ini menjadi kunci dari bagaimana menulis iklan, karena kita tidak tahu sejauh mana iklan kita memberikan respon. Jadi kuncinya adalah harus mau merubah iklan kita. Dan ini harus jadi pembelajaran di setiap broadcast WA yang kita kirimkan ya. Kita perlu belajar dan perlu merevisi iklan kita kalau tidak ada respon.
They did not change it again. But they tested all of those half a dozen, and they may have tested more. Those are the ones I knew about and could get ads for. They may have tested more, but once they came to the conclusion that this is our winner, stick with it. Don't change it. Stay with the winning racehorse. And they did for 40 years. Now, what do you notice about this? What are some of the elements that jump out to you when you look at this ad? It engages people. The headline engages people, definitely. Do you notice that these subheadings throughout, free book on English, 100% self-correcting device, what Cody did at Carey, those are like mini headlines. They're small headlines to keep you reading. You have to have headlines throughout your copy, breaking up the copy to make it visually appealing, for one thing, and to keep people reading. There's two kinds of readers, the ones that will read word for word all the way through the ad, and then the skimmers. And the skimmers are going to pull out those subheadings. And they may only read one particular section, but it all needs to be there. What else do you notice about this ad?
The words are very simple and direct.
Oh, yeah, the words are very simple and direct is an excellent point. You know, the average reading level of the American public is something like the 6th grade, 7th grade, something like that. So you don't want to make anything that you write very complicated. As simple and direct as possible. In fact, if you use a thesaurus to write copy or to look up words to replace other words, most writers use it to find a bigger word for what they're trying to express. Do the opposite and find a smaller word. Something with only one syllable in it would be best. What else do you notice about this ad? Bigger print. I didn't notice that one by myself, but that's a good point. It does make it more readable by having it in large type. And what else do you notice about this? There's a couple key things I'm rooting for here. 1, 2, 3, well, ignore the 1, 2, 3. That came from somewhere else. That wasn't part of the ad.
The testimonial that there are more than 100,000 were helped and it takes only 15 minutes. Small effort, big result.
Aren't those all benefits?
I think they're benefits.
Yeah, aren't those all benefits that people are interested in? There's a whole lot of people that have done this before, not 1 or 2 people, 100,000 people. That's giving that credibility. One thing I want you to notice is that there is a coupon here. And all the ads that we looked at had coupons. All of these things are direct response advertisements. And what I want you to write is a direct response ad. Now, when I say ad, I'm talking about your sales letters, I'm talking about your flyers, I'm talking about your postcards that you send out, I'm talking about your brochures. I'm well aware that you may not be placing full-page ads, but you can learn from the way these are designed and apply these techniques as a template to what you're doing.
Nah, Joe ingin menyarankan bahwa konsepnya dipakai sebagai template, sebagai konsep berpikir. Jadi iklan ini adalah pertama, dia engagement ya. Dia terlibat dengan klien seperti melakukan diskusi dengan para pembaca gitu. Dan pembaca diajak terlibat di dalam tulisan ini. Yang kedua, yang berikutnya dia dibuat simple, sederhana, dan direct langsung pada tujuan gitu. Hanya tidak dilakukan dalam bentuk promosi, tapi dalam bentuk tulisan yang salah ya di dalam Inggris itu, tapi orang itu mulai tertarik, oh ini ada tulisan salah di dalam iklannya, kemudian dia menelusuri. Jadi kembali engagement menjadi kunci. Simple, sederhana, direct, itu yang ingin Joe sebutkan. Yang kedua, di situ ada manfaat, juga ada diskon, kupon untuk memastikan bahwa orang itu take action ya. Jadi orang itu kalau membaca itu harus punya jawaban mengapa saya harus take action hari itu. Dan itu harus jadi sense of urgency orang ketika kita menulis iklan.
Coupons are a way to encourage people to respond, to act. That's direct response. You want a direct response from what you've given them. The image advertising or the institutional advertising is just to place out an ad to give a unique feeling about a company. Most big companies do that, and that's pretty dangerous. It's a phenomenal amount of money to do it. I think we small business people can do the image and a direct response in one place. You can create an ad that still gives you a good image while having a coupon or some other way of asking them to respond. Now, note with that said, do you make these mistakes in English? Because one reason they call people like me copywriters is because we copy. Do you make these 10 common typewriter mistakes? See, there's nothing wrong with finding out what's worked before and adapting it to your own use. You know, that ad, the ad I just showed you was by Maxwell Sackheim. It ran for 40 years. It's well known in advertising that it's a successful ad. So it's very easy for somebody to adapt the headline from it. This is an adaptation. A smart copywriter said, well, I can fool with this a little bit.
Nah, ini adalah contoh iklan menggunakan terinspirasi oleh tulisan yang pertama, do you make this mistake in English? Dan ini justru membuat iklan yang mirip dengan itu, tapi untuk kursus mengetik ya, untuk kursus mengetik. Jadi membuat iklan yang sama, tapi mengambil inspirasi dari iklan yang lain. Dan ini sebenarnya boleh-boleh saja dilakukan gitu.
Now, this is still dated, but it was long enough, it worked. I mean, do you make these 10 common typewriter mistakes? If you're looking for a typewriter when typewriters were big, you would look at this. You would read this. It's involving. Now, how many of you thought, from what I showed you earlier, that there was too much copy? That there was way too much text there. There was a lot to read. A couple of you are admitting it. Probably a few other ones are thinking that quietly. Generally speaking, the more copy you give, the more you tell, the more you sell. The tests say that the longer copy, generally speaking, will pull better results for you. Now, that doesn't mean that you mindlessly go and just fill up the page with words, because the real art is making this copy irresistible reading. You know for a fact people are reading books, they're reading magazines, they're reading long articles, they are reading. There's a famous advertising man who said, people will read any amount of copy as long as it's interesting. As long as you are interesting the people that this is targeted for, they will read every word. David Ogilvy said, it's when you step into boredom that they stop reading. That's why copywriters get paid so much, is because they're supposed to know how to write irresistible, grab attention with the headline and keep them reading, write irresistible copy so they go all the way through. Notice, coupon. This is a direct response ad, and this is one from the last few years. This was not from the 1920s. This is also a very, very successful ad. I mean, the headline alone is pretty riveting. Someone reading this page is getting ready to sue you. Holy smokes, doesn't that send a slight chill up your spine?
Ya, ini ada iklan, sekaligus juga memberikan penjelasan bahwa jangan takut menulis banyak. Nah, kita juga suka diskusi itu. Iklannya kepanjangan sih gitu. Enggak, menurut Joe Vitale bukan tentang panjangnya pendek iklan, tapi sejauh mana tulisan kita itu menarik untuk dilanjutkan. Karena orang itu sebenarnya membaca buku, membaca majalah yang tulisannya panjang-panjang, dan orang mau membaca. Yang jadi tantangan bila tulisannya membosankan, disitulah orang mulai berhenti membaca gitu. Bila tulisan kita menarik dan untuk diikuti, maka mau sepanjang apapun kita menulis, jadi nggak jadi masalah sebenarnya. Karena orang menarik. Kata kuncinya bukan tentang panjang pendek iklan. Kata kuncinya adalah sejauh mana iklan yang kita tulis itu menarik untuk dibaca. Dan disitulah butuh skill. Disitulah butuh seorang copywriter yang menarik dan basisnya hipnosis sebagaimana dilakukan oleh Joe Vitale ya.
As further evidence that long copy sells, this was a full page in the New York Times, probably in the 60s. I think there were 7,000 words in it in small type. It looked pretty much like what you see right there. Yet this pulled so well, it ran one time. 100,000 people responded to it. People will read any amount of copy as long as it's interesting to them.
Nah, ini contoh sebuah iklan penuh tulisan. Satu halaman tulisannya kecil-kecil lagi kan. Tapi begitu dibaca orang menarik. Dan menariknya ini memberikan respon hampir 100.000 orang merespon iklan ini. Bayangkan saja. Padahal tulisannya kecil-kecil dan susah dibaca. Sebenarnya ini kurang lebih tahun 60-an ya. Iklan ini di sounding ya. Dan menariknya banyak orang respon. Gitu. Jadi sebenarnya ini kita mengcounter tulisan orang-orang. Misalnya kita buat broadcast di WA. Wah tulisannya kepanjangan. Gak jadi masalah. Yang jadi masalah adalah tulisan kepanjangan membosankan tanpa hiasan. Hanya hitam putih. Yang kedua boring tulisannya. Tulisannya membosankan. Disitulah kata kunci mengapa sebuah broadcast menjadi membosankan. Harusnya kita menulis iklan panjang gak jadi masalah. Yang penting menarik dan orang mau baca. Gitu. Itu kuncinya ya sebenarnya.
Same sort of concept here is I wanted you to see it because it has an important headline, how to ensure that every business letter you send really sells you and your company. The word new is a powerful word. New, there's two or three, there's actually a couple dozen very powerful words, but the most powerful words in advertising, can somebody guess what they are? Probably somebody's going to say new, right? New is definitely one of them. What else would you think? Free, improved is good, and that's all a relationship to new. Free, somebody said free. New, free, and you are three of the most powerful words in advertising. New, free, and you.
Free or free?
Free, F-R-E-E. F-R-E-E.
Nah, ini iklan yang memberikan pencerahan pada kita, kata-kata kunci yang menarik pada perhatian orang. Di saat itu ya, saat ini kita harus tes dan ukur. Jadi kata-kata baru, gratis, dan Anda itu menarik bagi dia. New, free, and you. Gitu. Itu kata-kata menarik di dalam penulisan iklan. Dan itu menarik di saat itu. Saat ini kita perlu tes dan ukur sejauh mana kata-kata ini memberikan respon bagi iklan kita.
This is a very recent ad. 308 vinegar home remedies for a longer, healthier, happier life. What's missing from this ad? No, I think that they're there. I think people want longer, healthier, happier life. The coupon, thank you. There's no coupon. In fact, if you look real close, there's no way. It doesn't give you a toll-free number. It doesn't give you a fax. It doesn't give you an email address. It doesn't tell you how to order it. It doesn't give you a means to order, yes? Well, this was going to individuals. There should have been a coupon of some sort. It says act promptly, and there might have been an order form. But when you send these things out, you have to remember that this may stand alone, like I'm showing it by itself. So there should be a coupon or a phone number or something.
Nah, ini contoh iklan yang salah dan beberapa kali orang pernah melakukan ini. Saking asiknya menulis, lupa melakukan sense of urgency ya. Kupon, diskon, maupun penulisan nomor telepon kemana harus menghubungi dan sebagainya. Dan kita pernah lupa melakukan ini. Beberapa pengiklan saking sibuknya dengan tulisan melupakan hal penting, yaitu menaruh nomor telepon di tempat di mana dia bisa dihubungi ya. Ini krusial ya kalau menulis iklan.
This is what's called an advertorial style of advertising. The word advertorial comes from a blend of advertisement and editorial. This ran in Reader's Digest, and if you're a reader of Reader's Digest, you know that it looks like what would be in Reader's Digest. It's their type, it's their columns, it's their look, it's their face, but this is an ad. If you look at the bottom, it says that it's asking you how to find the salt substitute at a section of your food store. It's telling you where to buy something. That's very unlike what would be in a normal Reader's Digest story. But this is an editorial style ad, and typically these will get more readership and more response than any other kind of advertisement. When this was tested, John Capel said this one got 81% more response than the same copy, the same headline, set in a different style. So you might want to consider creating an ad or a brochure that's in an editorial style. It looks like a newspaper article, or it looks like it was in Reader's Digest. If you run this in Reader's Digest in most publications, if you look at the top right, it asks you to put advertisement. But people still see it and read it as a story. Now, why do you think this pulls better?
It has legitimacy.
Yes.
Integrity.
Yes. People trust. You know, we live in the age of skepticism again. People tend to trust what they read in a newspaper, what they read in a magazine. If you make your copy look like it's what they're reading in the newspaper or reading in the magazine, even with the word advertisement there, they will trust it more. Yes?
So, Joe, is the same true if you write an article for like some type of journal, newspaper journal, and then in the bottom, as the author, you put information about yourself? Is that as valuable a selling tool?
Absolutely. In fact, there's some handouts that every one of you have that have about 6 of my articles right on the front, all of them that I wrote for DBA Magazine, and every single one of them ends with a bio box about me, with my phone number, the books that I've read, and so forth. When that originally came out, it was nothing more than I was writing a column on marketing for DBA Magazine. But once it came out, I've been using it as a flyer. I reproduce it and give it to people. It serves as an ad for me. It serves as a flyer for me, and it has a lot of credibility. Doesn't it look important? And so what she's talking about is at the end, instead of a coupon, there's a biography, a resource box is what it's often called, that says your name, your address, what you've written, it's like having a coupon in an ad, but it was an article that ended with that.
Nah, ini Joe Vitale menjelaskan tentang cara iklan. Salah satu cara iklan adalah melakukan ad editorial. Jadi semacam sebuah pemberitaan yang di dalamnya ada iklan. Gitu. Jadi dibuat dengan gaya bahasa, dengan penulisan di zaman dulu kayak sebuah berita, tapi di dalamnya sebenarnya sebuah iklan. Dan orang suka membaca majalah, termasuk informasi-informasi penting dari majalah. Gitu. Karena orang menyukai informasi dari majalah dan sering lebih percaya di majalah dibanding dengan cerita-cerita orang, karena di balik majalah itu mereka membacanya dan mengatakan ini adalah pembenaran, satu hal yang benar bagi mereka itu kata kunci. Jadi di zaman itu orang menyukai majalah, maka dibuat iklan yang basisnya editorial, penjelasan-penjelasan yang seperti sebuah berita tapi di dalamnya diselipin ada iklan-iklan kita di dalamnya gitu.
This, again, is an editorial or advertorial style of ad. This was for a $300 American Speaker, which I think is a book set. It might be a magazine set. I'm not familiar with what that is. But this was in an airline magazine. They made it look like an article. Again, this style tends to work.
Kembali, ad editorial ya. Jadi dibuat semacam sebuah berita. Dan menurut advertising di situ, penulisan berbasis berita seperti itu memberikan respon 81% lebih banyak ya. Itu kajian mereka. Maka banyak menggunakan iklan yang basisnya editorial.
Now, I'm going to go into some very interesting ads in just a minute. They're going to be fun to look at because I'm going to ask you which ones worked and which ones didn't, and kind of have a little test or a little quiz to see what you think, because it's very interesting for me to do that. In fact, just 2 days ago, I got hired to be an expert witness to look at current ads to find out, are they misleading? Which ads are working? Which ads do they apply to? This is a fun, different field, beginning to do what I'm doing right here. Here are the 26 reasons why people buy. I don't know what each of you are selling, but whatever it is, you need to tie it to one or more of these. To make money, to save time, to avoid effort, to get more comfort, to achieve greater cleanliness, to attain fuller health. I've given you the handout. Linda passed them around, so you'll have that for you. But there's 26 things there that have been determined that these are the reasons why people buy. And we want to tie what you are selling, what you are offering, to one or more of these.
Ya, ini tentang iklan. 26 kata yang membuat orang membeli iklan kita atau melihat iklan. Tentu tidak terlalu dibahas di sini karena bukan kata-kata yang penting, tapi kajian kita karena ini dinamis. Jadi bisa saja bagus di zaman dulu, belum tentu bagus di zaman sekarang. Tapi ini menjadi inspirasi, ternyata ada kata-kata magic yang mempengaruhi orang, misalnya uang, kekayaan, seksi, apapun di beberapa kata-kata yang kita perlu telusuri dan itu perlu diupdate. Jadi kalau Bapak Ibu membaca sebuah, ada 26 kata, 30 kata yang menarik yang buat orang, cek tanggal berapa, tahun berapa itu dikeluarkan. Karena bisa saja dinamika masyarakat yang cepat ini bisa saja berubah. Ingat, apalagi sekarang di era digital, informasi begitu cepat sampai ke satu negara ke negara lain, maka program berpikir atau culture dan budaya masyarakat bisa berbeda satu sama lain.
Okay, here's your first quiz. How to ruin your marriage in the quickest possible way. Is this a good ad? I got a yes. I got quite a few yeses. Okay, now here's my point. We just looked at the 26 reasons why people buy. Is ruining their marriage one of the things they want to buy? No. No. This ad is not good. This ad bombed. From an attention-getting standpoint, yes, the headline probably does stop people in their tracks, and maybe they chuckle a little bit. But who wants to buy a way to ruin your marriage? Somebody in one of my recent talks said, well, you don't even need a book for that. You know, it's easy to do. So this ad did not work, but they tested the ad, and if you note, this was for Dale Carnegie's book.
Nah, ini adalah salah satu buku Dale Carnegie, The Legend, buku legenda ya, lembaga pelatihannya ada di Indonesia. Itu tentang iklannya yang awal mereka lakukan testing ya, gitu. Iklannya cara merusak perkawinan Anda dengan cepat. Nah, itu memancing perhatian, tapi sebenarnya iklannya ini walaupun memancing perhatian tidak terlalu menarik untuk ditelusuri ya. Kayak ini kajiannya karena iklannya tidak berhasil, tapi walaupun ini masih bagian dari tes dari kata, tapi punya satu kata ini menarik perhatian, tapi tidak membuat orang membeli gitu.
How to win friends and influence people. This is the other ad they ran. This ad helped them sell 100,000 direct mail orders, and it started sales in books.
Nah, ini adalah tes yang kedua yang menghasilkan 100.000 pesanan buku, karena ini bukunya Dale Carnegie dan buku ini legenda ya. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Awalnya iklannya adalah yang tadi, kemudian diganti dengan ini dan mereka melakukan tes dan ingin melihat sejauh mana respon pasar gitu. Kembali tes dan ukur menjadi kata kunci ya. Gitu.
Stores that about the time of the 1960s, 5 million books were sold. Is this a better ad or what?
Dan terakhir, ini buku ini berhasil di tahun 60-an ya, ini 5 juta eksemplar ya buku. Luar biasa sebenarnya.
Doesn't this tell you how to win friends and influence people? Aren't those things people want? There it is. You can't even improve on that. And notice that this is a direct response ad. Notice that there is a coupon. Notice that there is info on the author. Notice that there's testimonials. Notice that there's subheadings. There's a lot of type. They tell the full story. But again, that headline is where people will stop or keep going. That has to intrigue them right there, or you've lost them.
Nah, kembali, headline menjadi kunci iklan kita. Bila headline kita menarik, maka orang terus mau menelusuri. Bila tidak menarik, maka sebenarnya selesailah iklan kita. Jadi kata kunci dari semua itu adalah keberanian kita menulis headline yang menarik dan membuat orang mau terus mencari ide-ide. Bagaimana menulis headline, mengcopy, dan segala hal ya. Gitu. Kembali seperti yang di pertama, kita perlu membaca banyak buku, lihat video, dan sebagainya, memperhatikan kata demi kata, mana yang menarik, mana yang kurang menarik.
I'm showing this because how-to headlines typically work. This is from David Ogilvy, who's a master. He's still around. He's 81 years old, is the last I heard. Look at all the how-to ads that he wrote and ran. How to create corporate advertising that gets results. This is an ad for his service. But don't people want to read that because of the benefit that's in the headline? How to launch new products. This is an ad for his service. how to make your sales promotions more profitable, how much should you spend on advertising, how to advertise travel, how to create food advertising that sells. Every one of these people are reading them because they want the benefits, but every one of these are advertisements for his service. Do you see how that's working? Give people what they want. They will read it. They will read all of those words. They will be impressed. They will learn something. And if you've truly sold them, if you've captivated them, when they get down at the bottom where there's the coupon or the phone number, they will call you.
Nah, ini kembali Joe Vitale menegaskan tentang ada seorang pakar periklan yang menulis banyak iklan dan isinya tentang manfaat. Dan dia mendapatkan respon dari semua iklannya dia karena dia selalu memulai dengan headline yang fokus pada manfaat. Dan ini menjadi kunci penting kalau kita menulis periklanan atau menulis iklan di broadcast atau apapun itu.
This is a flyer for a book, As Long as Life. Quiz time. Do you think that that is a good ad or bad ad? Yeah, I would say it's bad. You cannot tell as long as life. What does that mean? What does that tell you? Not a thing. It may have the other ingredients there. There's some bulleted points, there's an order form, but in my mind the headline is terrible. The subheading, which is the actual title, maybe it's a subtitle for the book, The Memoirs of a Frontier Woman Doctor, may be better because it's more intriguing, but there's not enough copy there to get people involved in reading this material and then possibly involved in buying the book.
You wasted space because that's the name of the book.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It's on the book, so you don't need to.
Yeah, she pointed out that you wasted space. I didn't hear you. What's that?
She doesn't look happy about anything.
That's a good point. You know, I probably haven't said this before, and I'm not sure if it's in my AMA book or not. But, you know, they did some research for Coca-Cola. You know, Coca-Cola's been around for over 100-some years, and they looked at all of the ads from Coca-Cola, looking for what is the one thing that shows up in every ad that helps make them successful. You know what it is?
Wow.
Happy faces. Happiness. The lady doesn't look very happy. There's no emotional response there unless you're suicidal and you want to read something like that.
Jadi itu ada iklan As Long as Life yang sebenarnya nggak jelas maksudnya apa, walaupun iklan buku sebenarnya. Gitu. Dan kembali Joe menjelaskan tentang pentingnya headline-nya, karena headline itu memberikan inspirasi dan persepsi gitu. Yang kedua, Joe menegaskan tentang happy face. Jadi dia menelusuri, dan di iklan ini yang iklan tidak happy ya. Gitu. Dan dia menelusuri buku-buku iklan-iklan Coca-Cola. Iklan Coca-Cola selalu ada satu hal yang sama dari waktu ke waktu yang membuat orang suka dengan Coca-Cola adalah muka bahagia, muka ceria gitu. Dan itu ada di setiap iklan di Coca-Cola. Jadi ingin menggambarkan minum Coca-Cola kita akan bahagia sebagaimana orang yang pernah minum Coca-Cola sebelumnya gitu.
Okay. These are two ads, A and B. Now, the A and B, you probably can't read the bottom part. That's the copy. But you can look at the headline and the general layout. They're for cruise lines. The one A says only one cruise line gives you all these great vacation spots plus Bermuda. And the other one, 20 years ago, the Chinese reserved this kind of treatment for presidents and kings. These were tested. Which one do you think would get more response, A or B? How many A's? Okay, and how many B's? Okay, well, it looks like we're split up here. Well, A got 67% more response. Now, the question is why? A got 67% more response. You want to guess at the answer?
Clear benefit.
Clear benefit is it. You knew at a glance what was being offered. And if you're in the market for a cruise line, you're going to go to the one that says cruise lines. When I first looked at this, I actually chose B. Because I thought, well, that's kind of a romantic way of talking about it. 20 years ago, it sounded kind of historic, and there was a little romance or intrigue in that. And then I thought, well, you know, it is right. A would win, because I'm looking at B all by itself and imagining that I was just studying it. But if it was in a magazine and I was flipping through, I'd probably pass it right up. And if I was looking for a cruise line, I'd want to know which one has the cruise line. A speaks a direct benefit.
Well, who doesn't want to go on a cruise?
Right, right. Who doesn't want to go on a cruise? And there it is.
Ya, ini dua iklan yang dicontohkan. satu iklan kapal mewah parsial dan dia beriklan langsung hanya sekian yang mengantarkan Anda ke sini plus bermuda gitu. Yang berikutnya iklan Krusla juga tapi dia menceritakan tentang romantika perjalanan ke Cina dan sebagainya gitu. Dan ternyata iklan yang A mendapatkan respon 67% karena direct pada manfaat gitu. Jadi yang kedua ingin kejar kejar apa emosi tapi kurang pas gitu karena untuk orang yang ingin krusial berkapal parsial dia ingin tahu tujuan kemana dan apa layanan maka dia gunakan iklan itu eh, untuk menarik customer ya prospek ya kembali ini tentang tes dan mengukur kembali iklan kita di lapangan.
Another quiz for you. A and B. Again, you don't need to read all of the copy because I think all of the answers are right in what you see there. And A says, introducing ProEdit, the world's smallest video production studio. And B says, two out, bottom of the ninth, you'd better catch it. Which one do you think did better? Okay, a couple people chose B. A did better by a landslide, by about 70% better. The reason being, it clearly tells you what's being sold. B is slightly interested, but you don't know until you get to the bottom of the page and you start reading the copy that they're selling a camera. And think back to what we were talking about with the power words like new and somebody said improved. There's the word introducing. Introducing is very similar to the word new. That sounds like news. It sounds like a benefit. The world's smallest video production studio. It sounds like something would be people would be interested in. And if people are looking for that product, A clearly has it with a light on it. B is hidden. So you want to keep all of these kind of things in mind when you're creating.
Oke, itu iklan ini menggambarkan tentang dua iklan lagi. Iklan pertama itulah direct langsung mengenalkan produk ini, mengenalkan itu sama dengan hal baru ya, gitu. Sementara yang B adalah bercerita dan orang butuh waktu untuk memahami iklan apa. Maka karena dari awal diklirkan iklan pertama itu lebih memperkenalkan, lebih jelas arahnya, dia mendapatkan respon jauh lebih banyak dibanding yang pertama.
Your own material. Go for the direct benefit. Here's a fun one.
Langsung pada manfaat langsung menurut Joe Vitale.
A. Why clown around in black and white when you can do it in color just as easily? And B. These are just a few of 16,777,216 colors your PCAT can process using our color frame grabber. And they're both for the same thing. They were tested. Which did better, A or B?
A.
Everybody's reluctant to say anything now. It can become intimidating to start guessing at which one of these were. Okay, how many said A? Quite a few of you. How many said B? A couple of you. B is actually the big winner. B is the big winner. Now, we want to look at this real closely. If you look at the headline for A, why clown around in black and white when you can do it in color just as easily? What are they talking about? We don't know. We don't know. That's the point. A doesn't communicate clearly and directly what we're talking about, what you're selling. B does. These are just a few of there's the number. A number gives a lot of credibility. And a big odd number like that, a specific number like that, creates believability in an ad. The other one doesn't have anything like that. This also says your. Remember the words you, your, those are power words. It says about your PCAT, it's telling you what we're talking about, can process, it's telling you exactly what they're offering. B is much more direct. A is more cute, but A bombed.
Oke, ini dua iklan kembali. Sekali ini yang menang yang B. Karena iklan pertama tentang badut. Kalau badut bisa diwarnai warna-warni, ngapa harus hitam putih gitu. Ini sebenarnya iklan apa menurut Joe Vitale nggak jelas iklannya kemana. Sementara iklan yang kedua hanya ini iklan menggambarkan sebuah kayaknya printer ya atau iklan yang berhubungan dengan warna lah gitu. Di iklan kedua hanya menggambarkan ini hanya beberapa dari contoh warna yang kami punya. Jadi ini membuat sebuah ini loh warna-warna, berarti dia lebih banyak. Jadi ada asumsi dia punya jauh lebih banyak dari iklan yang ada. Dan ini menarik gitu karena iklannya lebih clear yang kedua. Jadi kembali manfaat tuh harus jelas, clear. Ini yang menarik bagi orang. Kalau orang perlu menebak-nebak, ada yang bagus bila tebakannya adalah berhubungan dengan materi dan orang menarik kayak tadi. Do you make these mistakes? Itu kan sebuah kesalahan tapi memancing sebuah respon pertanyaan pada diri. Oh, saya buat kesalahan itu enggak ya dalam bahasa Inggris? Itu mancing respon. Tapi kalau iklan badut tadi eh, agak terlalu penuh analisa lah gitu. Agak banyak analisa dan tidak semua bisa merespon iklan ini dengan baik gitu.
You see the difference? Now this is a real subtle one. I actually studied this ad for quite a while. Same product, pretty much the same illustration and layout. A says products you can stick with, and B says a company that sticks with you. Now, does A do better or B? Does A do better? How many say A? A, and how many say B? Okay. A is the big winner, products you can stick with. The reason people care more about what they may get, not what you may offer. The other one, a company that sticks with you. I don't care about the company. A company that sticks with you. This is so close, there was like 16% difference, but A was the big puller. And I'm pointing it out to show, if you keep everything else equal, you better focus on what people get, not on what you offer. Focus on what people get, their benefits. My rule of thumb in writing any copy or designing any ad, and this is, people care more about what they may get. Is much more direct. A is more cute, but A bombed. With same product, pretty much the same illustration and
Nah, ini adalah dua contoh iklan yang sedang di trial ya. Mereka ingin tahu sejauh mana responnya. Dan ternyata respon pertama lebih banyak dibanding respon kedua. Jadi itu sebuah iklan lem kayaknya. Product you can stick with. Jadi produk yang bisa Anda tempelkan dengan produk yang bisa Anda tempelkan. Sementara yang kedua bicara tentang company yang menempel pada Anda. Nah, ternyata menurut Joe Vitale, orang lebih care pada apa yang bisa dia gunakan terhadap produk itu dibanding perusahaan. Jadi ketika bicara produk you can stick, orang bicara produk yang bisa saya gunakan, itu orang lebih menarik dibanding perusahaan. Orang nggak peduli dengan perusahaannya. Yang penting apa yang bisa saya gunakan dengan produk itu. Jadi ini kembali ke modul pertama, sesi pertama. Orang lebih tertarik pada apa yang bisa bermanfaat, apa yang bisa dimanfaatkan dibanding perusahaannya. Gitu.
Out. A says products you can stick with, and B says a company that sticks with you. Now, does A do better or B? Does A do better? How many say A? A, and how many say B? Okay. A is the big winner, products you can stick with. The reason people care more about what they may get, not what you may offer. The other one, a company that sticks with you. I don't care about the company. A company that sticks with you. This is so close, there was like 16% difference, but A was the big puller. And I'm pointing it out to show, if you keep everything else equal, you better focus on what people get, not on what you offer. Focus on what people get, their benefits. My rule of thumb in writing any copy or designing any ad, and this is a little mantra like a Zen koan that I have, and it is, get out of your ego and get into the customer's ego. Get out of your ego and get into the customer's ego. B is your ego, a company. I don't care about the company, but the company does. They wrote the ad, they were probably proud of themselves. A is focusing on the person, products. Slight difference, but important difference.
Nah, ini kembali Joe Vitale sebagai di video pertama. Dia menjelaskan keluar dari ego Anda dan masuk ke dalam ego prospek Anda atau pembaca Anda. Gitu.
Is this a good ad or bad ad? Overlook the fact that it's for one of my books and I wrote the ad. It's he wants me to buy him lunch afterwards is what it's about. He says it's perfect. Well, it's really not perfect. It's probably close. There's not enough copy in it, really. When this went out, it went with, I think, a 4-page sales letter. So the sales letter had a whole lot of copy in it that should have been with this. But it is fairly intriguing. I'm pointing it out because it guarantees what's being sold. And I am a great advocate for guarantees. I say that you need to put your guarantee or invent a guarantee. Invent a risk-free guarantee for people. Make it as easy as possible for them to buy. This one says, use these 7 principles for 6 months. If you're out of work, you'll get a job. If you're employed, you'll get a raise. If you're in business, you'll see a whopping 25% jump in revenues, or return this book and your receipt for a full cash refund. The reality is, less than 2% of the people will ever enforce a guarantee, even if they're phenomenally unhappy. So you're really not losing anything by doing that, but you are encouraging greater sales, greater calls by having a guarantee. Guarantee what you do and take all the risk on you. Don't come up with a 7-day guarantee or a 10-day guarantee. Come up with a year-long guarantee or a lifetime guarantee. Put the risk on you. If you believe in your product or service, why not?
Nah, ini tentang iklannya Joe Vitale, bukunya dia yang Seven Lost Secret. Dia menaruh garansi ya. Kalau Anda kangguran, Anda bisa kerja, Anda pokoknya banyak lah. Bila Anda tidak berhasil, maka Anda boleh kembalikan uang gitu. Dan ini garansi dia gitu. Kalau Anda yakin dengan produk kita gitu. Dan memang berisiko menurut Joe Vitale paling hanya sekitar 2% orang yang minta dikembalikan. Dan bahkan kebanyakan enggak gitu. Dan tapi di balik cerita itu kita punya keberanian untuk membuat iklan kita menjadi lebih punya kekuatan ya, karena berani menerapkan garansi.
I'm going to jump through a few of these. Now, you've already been listening to Barney Zick this morning, and this was the flyer that he was using for his negotiation course. And he asked me to take a look at it. And I took one look at it, and I said, I can do better. And he let me. But I want to know from you, what do you think of this, and what do you think of the headline? You've all had a turbocharged mini course in advertising and copywriting within the last 30 minutes or so. What do you think of that? You got to like it. He who talks first wins. What's it about? If I hadn't told you it was a negotiating course, would you know it? No. Okay. I think that...
I think it's good, but he doesn't say what for and
right.
situation and
right.
kind of activity.
I think the headline is okay. I think it's intriguing, but I think it's on the same level as the one that we looked at as your head of hair farm. It's intriguing, it's curious, it's different, but from taking one glance, can you tell what it's about? Can you tell what the benefit is? Yes?
Would a sub-headline?
A subheading could help. You know, if he had an immediate subheading that said Barney Zick's famous negotiation course or some clear benefit, it would help. Testimonials would help. Now, he does have a longer flyer. This is part of it, and there are a bunch of testimonials on another page.
Nah, ini ada iklan tentang negosiasi. Kursus negosiasi ya. Cuma iklan ini dianggap terlalu blur, terlalu abu-abu gitu. Karena kalaupun kita tidak ngerti kursus negosiasi, begitu dikatakan tentang kursus apa sih, kita nggak ngerti gitu. Harusnya ada tulisan kecil atau apapun yang bisa menambah iklan ini menjadi clear. Ini tentang apa? Walaupun iklannya menurut Joe Vitale iklannya menarik, tapi tidak memberikan informasi banyak tentang apa yang sedang dilakukan.
Page. But looking at just this by itself, trying to create a one-page marketing piece, this isn't quite it. Now, Barney Zick, I'm not putting him down. He is a genius, a living genius at what he does. But when I write my own ads, for me, it's tough work. So when Barney tries to write it for himself, it's tough work. When you write it for yourself, it's probably tough work. I hire other copywriters to look at what I do when I'm doing it for myself. It's too hard to be objective about it. So this is what he had, and I worked with it a little bit, and I didn't get it to the stage where it was laid out by a graphic artist, but this is what I came up with, and the coupon's not even complete yet. But a proven new system for winning in any negotiating or sales situation. Does that have more of a benefit to it? Do you see the word new in there? Do you see the word winning is still there? Because I like the word winning too. Somebody pointed it out in his other ad.
Nah, ini adalah iklannya dari Joe Vitale ketika menyusun ulang iklan tadi. Proven new system for winning in and negotiating or sales situation. Jadi sebuah proven terbukti, new system kembali sesuatu yang baru itu menarik orang untuk menang di setiap negosiasi atau kondisi sales. Jadi proven system adalah proven new system. Jadi bukan hanya proven system ya. Proven new system artinya sebuah sistem baru yang terbukti bisa memenangkan orang dan ini clear tentang khusus negosiasi yang sedang dijual gitu.
Do you see negotiating and sales are in there, keywords? And I also have a subheading that's really at the top. It's a lead-in. The word at last, those two words are very much like new or improved or introducing. They're power words. Two master negotiators reveal. Reveal sounds like news. People love news. So I'm trying to write this in the most new.
Dan ini ditambah tulisan kecil di bawahnya, supporting headline ya, supporting headline atau memperjelas tentang iklan ini. Jadi introducing, mengenalkan hal baru, pokoknya apapun itu yang berhubungan dengan baru, fresh, baru, terus tentang diri kita, dengan Anda gitu. Ini menarik ya orang gitu. Nah, kita juga harus clear kata-kata apa yang menarik orang. Menurut Joe Vitale, kata baru dan Anda adalah hal-hal yang membuat orang tertarik gitu.
News-oriented way I can. And then I tried to write some copy there that you won't be able to read it all here. And the coupon's not even finished because I've just laid this out. I designed it, I wrote it out, and gave it to him. A graphic artist can make this very powerful. They can make it leap off the page. I'd love to have a picture of Barney on there somewhere. I'd love to have a picture of the tape set on there somewhere. But again, that headline has to communicate what's going on or we've lost people.
Kembali Joe Vitale mengatakan headline itu important karena itu menjadi lead bagi semua pembaca untuk memastikan bahwa ini perlu dibaca atau tidak gitu ya.
I said that there were some power words, magic words to use. This is from my book for the American Marketing Association. You can look at that list. You can copy down some of those. I'm not sure if I gave that in the handout or not, but announcing, fantastic, guaranteed, limited offer, revealing, super, wonderful, all those words are power words. The thing that I want to caution you about is if you just use these power words by themselves, it sounds like fluff. If you string them all together and say, announcing, astonishing, exciting, exclusive new tape set, it's a little bit too fluffy that way. But if you combine these words with facts, then you have emotionally arousing, hard-hitting, persuasive sales copy. So you want to take these kind of words and blend them in the facts about what you are selling or offering.
Nah, ini kata-kata yang pada saat itu menarik ya, dan kita harus lihat terakhir ya. Announcing, pengumuman, fantastic, guarantee, limited offer, reveal, hal baru, terobosan baru, super, wonderful, dan sebagainya. Ini adalah kata-kata yang menarik di dalam bahasa Inggris untuk membuat iklan gitu di saat itu ya. Dan kita harus lihat kembali di Google banyak 30 kata-kata yang menarik bagi orang, dan ini adalah bisa kita model. Tapi ingat, kata-kata ini tidak boleh berdiri sendiri, dia harus digabungkan dengan fakta dan sehingga menjadi lebih menarik, mengandung unsur emosional yang menarik. Jadi nggak hanya bisa berdiri sendiri, ini harus digabungkan dengan kata lain sehingga menjadi lebih make sense dan lebih menarik untuk masuk ke dalam benak pikiran seseorang.
When I'm done writing copy, there's a whole lot of things that I go through to make sure that I've written it well. And I've given you this. There's 16 questions. This is from my advertising book too. And this is in your handout, so you have it. Don't worry about copying it. But when you're all done, you want to go through and make sure you've covered all the bases. This is one way to do it. These are the 16 questions you can ask, beginning with, does your opening pull readers into the ad with fast, compelling, strong reader interest? Does the opening begin with a bang? Again, when people are looking at your flyer, they're looking at it with a whole sea of other possibilities there in a magazine or a newspaper or in their mail if you've mailed it to them. So you need to grab them immediately. And these questions just walk you through, including the last one, the 16. Is this the best that you can do? It's too easy to say yes. It's too easy for me to say yes. Remember what Maxwell Sackheim did with that early ad, that whole series of ads in the beginning? They paid to test every one of them. There was a half dozen of them before they got to the winner. Be willing to go back to make your work the best it can be. And be willing to get feedback from your peers, and even more importantly, if you can do this, is ask a few of your customers to look at your flyer.
Nah ini Joe Vitale mengatakan mengaudit tulisan kita sebelum kita di launching, sebelum kita launching. Dan ingat mereka para copywriter profesional, mereka melakukan tes-tes ya, melakukan focus discussion group dan berbagai macam. Dan Joe Vitale menggunakan pertanyaan, misalnya pertanyaan-pertanyaan yang apakah iklan kita mengandung bank? Bank itu artinya mengandung sesuatu yang menonjok ya, membuat orang itu terperangah gitu. Apakah iklan kita memberikan penjualan saat itu, ada sense of urgency dan sebagainya. Dan ini bisa di cover dengan tadi kita bicara balai ya. Balai bisa membuat kita mengupas materi kita atau membuat kita mengaudit iklan kita. Ada pertanyaan apa, mengapa, bagaimana, kemudian apa langkah lanjutnya gitu. Jadi kita bertanya apa iklan kita tentang apa nih gitu. Apakah orang menarik? Kemudian kata kenapa, mengapa orang harus membeli produk kita? Nah, adakah iklan-iklan itu di kita gitu. Maka gunakan balai model, kemudian buat itu sebagai sebuah acuan kita untuk menilai iklan kita bagus atau tidak. Jadi balai model bisa dua tujuan ya. Pertama bisa mengcover materi, nanti kita akan lakukan ini jadi menggunakan pertanyaan-pertanyaan. Yang kedua bisa juga digunakan untuk mengcover, mengaudit iklan kita. Apakah sudah bagus? Apakah hanya ini yang bisa kita lakukan? Adakah cara lebih baik gitu? Ketika di di bagian empowerment kita bisa tanya apa langkah selanjutnya? Adakah cara lebih baik? Nah, kita jangan jangan males untuk mengubah kembali iklan kita. Jangan males untuk merevisi iklan kita. Karena ini menjadi kunci ya. Karena bisa saja kita ketemukan satu ide di jalan yang harus membuat iklan kita menjadi lebih baik gitu. Maka jangan males dan lakukan trial ya gitu. Lakukan trial, maka kami suka lihat di teman-teman UKM iklannya sama terus dari waktu ke waktu. Harusnya ada kreativitas di dalamnya dan itu membuat iklan kita menjadi lebih dinamis dan target melihat perbedaan-perbedaan dan kita jadi bisa meneliti iklan mana yang menarik bagi orang gitu.
Here's the key. If you have a target customer, a target prospect who looks at your flyer and says, "Great copy, I love it," that's not good. You failed. Because if it's a targeted prospect and he reads everything you wrote about your business, he or she should say, "How can I get this? I want to buy this. I want to sign up." They should not be paying attention to the way it was written, but they should be communicating and receiving your sales message. And if it's a targeted prospect, if it's in your audience, if it's in your market, they should finish it and say, "I want this."
Nah, ini yang menarik. Joe Vitale mengatakan bila ada customer Anda atau prospek kita datang kemudian ini iklan yang bagus, maka katakan itu Anda gagal buat iklan. Kecuali dia mengatakan di mana saya bisa beli barang ini atau produk ini atau jasa ini. Ini yang benar. Jadi iklan kita harus menjual dan hasil menghasilkan penjualan dan itu kata kunci dari keberhasilan sebuah iklan.
Then you know you got a winner. And finally, this is a reminder here, is first, in anything that you're creating, I mean, this is the one thing people do wrong is having a weak headline or having no headlines. Having no headlines is the worst sin of all. One is use a headline that attracts the right audience with a clear benefit to them. And by now, from all the different ads you've seen, you should be aware that that's what we're going for and how to do that and even what to look for. And the second is reveal as many benefits as you can using active writing and in an exciting and personal writing style. Again, you want to write copy in a simple way that conveys what you're talking about. And third is rewrite, 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 test, test, test. And finally, and this was when I was talking to publishers, but it works for anybody in business, one thing business people must do in order to generate more sales, think of what your customer gets, not of what you want to sell.
Nah ini Joe Vitale mengcover presentasinya dengan 3 hal ini di sampai terakhir peringatan atau hal yang penting. Pertama, gunakan headline yang menarik dengan audiens yang tepat ya, gitu. Dengan manfaat yang tepat sehingga orang menarik. Yang kedua, kupas headline kita dengan kata-kata yang active writing Aktif writing itu menggerakkan mental seseorang dan menarik gitu. Dan bentuknya lebih personal pada komunitas. Dan yang ketiga, tulis ulang, tulis ulang, tulis ulang dan tes tes. Jadi dites bagaimana respon orang, tulis ulang gitu. Dan terakhir dia mengatakan tulislah sesuatu untuk orang lain, eh, bukan untuk diri kita. Tulislah sesuatu yang memberikan manfaat orang lain, bukan menjelaskan tentang siapa kita. Dan inilah pesan Joe Vitale di dalam menulis iklan ya.
That is the number one most important distinction. Think of what your customer gets. Remember my little hypnotic phrase, get out of your ego and get into your customer's ego. Now, we have about a minute for some questions. Do you have a couple of questions that we can ask real quick? I know what's really on everybody's mind is you all want to know where I got this tie. That's what you've been thinking about this whole time. But I'm projecting wealth here, and I'm trying to help you create marketing materials that'll create wealth for you. Yes, go ahead.
You know about what you're saying with the ad copy being full story or so much
Yes.
text?
Yes.
That is so counter to have a lot of white space and
Yeah, good point. People, I run into arguments with people that ask me, or I'll create an ad, and they'll say, I want more white space in the ad. Well, how many of you read the newspaper? And you read the articles that the reporters write? How much white space do they leave? They know if they've come up with some news, they've come up with a headline, they've come up with an illustration, you'll read it. Why then will an advertiser who has to pay big bucks for the same space not put anything in it? Let's make it white. No. In fact, in some tests, they have shown that a cluttered-looking, busy-looking, word-filled ad outpulls one that has less words in it and looks more orderly. For one thing, it's got to get more attention. So, good point. But I say, now again, you don't want to just throw things in there, and you don't want to write copy that's weak or boring. It all has to work. But the more you tell, in general, the more you tell, the more you sell. Is there another question? Yes.
You've been talking about coupon on everything.
Yeah.
Are you talking about not a discount, but like a way to order?
A way to order, a response mechanism. In other words, usually when I think of a coupon, it's like fill in your name, address, zip code, phone number, and send this in. But any response, it could be call this toll-free number. It could be send email to me. It could be call this fax on demand. A way for people to respond is what I'm looking for, a direct response mechanism. For so many years, because of mail order and so forth, you saw coupons, and I was showing old ads. They didn't have faxes and in real early days, not even phones, so it was all with coupons. But that's what I'm talking about, is a way to respond. Okay, I think we're done. Thank you very much. Go out and make millions from what you've just learned.
Oke, Joe Vitale menutup sesi ini dengan dua pesan. Pertama, pertanyaan dari itu, ada banyak orang menulis iklan dengan membiarkan banyak kertas kosong masuk biar kelihatan rapi gitu. Ada orang berantakan nulis iklan tapi isinya ada tulisan-tulisan. Kata Joe, bagus mana? Kembali Joe mengatakan, the more you tell, the more you sell. Semakin banyak Anda menulis, semakin banyak Anda menjual. Dan itu yang bagus sebenarnya. Jadi jangan melihat iklan itu kertasnya bersih, tulisannya sedikit. Justru itu yang nggak menarik. Iklan itu bukan nggak menarik. Itu justru itu iklan yang menarik tapi tidak menjual. Kita menjual dari tulisan. Yang kedua, bagaimana cara tetap berkomunikasi dengan klien ketika dia telah membaca iklannya. Gunakan hadiah-hadiah atau apapun untuk memastikan dia menulis dirinya gitu. Dia merespon iklan kita ya. Kita sering lihat orang dapat e-book dan sebagainya. Itu adalah cara kita berkomunikasi kembali dengan orang lain. Dan itulah sesi kita bersama Joe Vitale. Kita belajar dari Joe Vitale, dan Joe Vitale dikenal dengan Mr. Fire gitu, dan dia adalah termasuk salah satu copywriter terbaik saat ini. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu telah menghadiri materi kami gitu. Dan semoga materi ini bermanfaat bagi Bapak Ibu, dan kita berharap Bapak Ibu bisa memulai tulisan itu baik dalam iklan, flyer maupun broadcast dengan cara yang pembelajaran sudah kami berikan dari video 1 sampai video 2. Terima kasih atas donasi Bapak Ibu, dan semoga kami bisa memanfaatkan dan Bapak Ibu bisa memanfaatkan pembelajaran dari kami. Sekian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.